Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and we're here on Friday, June 25th, to launch the 2021 season of Playland Amusement Park. We had a little thing called COVID that interrupted our 2020 year, but we are back, and it's beautiful, and we're happy to have you here for that great launch. I have a number of people that I want to introduce who are here, part of the team of the county and other levels of government, all of whom have contributed to making this day possible. Let me begin with my executive team, led by Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, Director of Operations Joan McDonald, Deputy Director of Operations Emily Saltzman, and we have all of key people on our executive team. That includes, and I may have missed a few as I've looked around the room, Bridget Gibbons, our Director of Economic Development, Crystal Collins, Aviva Meyer, from our communications team, Joe Scamato and Carolyn Fortino, Ellen Hendricks from our Intergov team, Rosa Raymond from our administrative team, and I'm sure I missed some people, but we're here in force. All directed by our program director here, Catherine Chaffee, our Director of Communications. We are joined by our partners in government, the Westchester County Board of Legislators, and they are led by Chairman Ben Boykin. Also with us, the Majority Leader, Mary Jane Shimsky. The local legislator that represents this geography, Catherine Parker. And her colleagues, Vedat Gashi, Terry Clements, David Tubiolo, and Colin Smith. There's about another 11 more that might show up at any point in time, and we'll make sure we recognize them. We're joined by our colleague in state government, State Senator Shelley Mayer. And she's here with her staffer, Emily Lavin, a former alum of our team as well. Happy to have Emily back with us. And we also have Alyssa Jacobs, who's here on behalf of Assemblyman Thomas Abenanti, and we may be joined by other members of the state delegation as well. Our commissioners, you'll be hearing in a few minutes from our Commissioner of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation, Kathy O'Connor, who's with us here. We also have our Deputy Commissioner, Andre Early, who's with us. And we all want to think of our first Deputy Commissioner, Peter Tartaglia, who has a moment of family grief that prevents him from being with us today. Peter has been associated with this park literally for decades and has been an outstanding asset to us in making this park available to open. Also, we have our Commissioner of the Department of Public Works and Transportation, Hugh Grecian. Hugh lives about a baseball throw from the end of the parking lot. And we also have our Commissioner, Sheriff for Public Safety, Tom Gleason. We're very happy to have with us members of our Parks Board. So far that I've seen Charlene Indelicato, who's a former county attorney for Westchester County, and also Pamela Dubitsky. Thank you both for being, and the Parks Board is a very essential part of the decisions that happen in the Parks Recreation Department. One of our partners in all of these efforts is the Westchester Parks Foundation. We have with us Joe Stout, representing the Parks Foundation, a former commissioner of Parks and Recreation as well. Let's see if I've checked off all the boxes. We have, except for one. We're joined by Coaster the Dragon. Coaster! The symbol of all things Playland as we go through it, and I'll lean on my friends if I've missed anybody in the introductory phase. Before we get into the official ribbon cutting, today begins a new era in Playland. You've seen in walking into the park the beginnings of major investment in this facility that is not precedented in recent years. You've seen that the Playland pool is under reconstruction. We're at the point where the old pool is gone, and now we're waiting for the reconstruction of the new pool. We will not have use of that pool this year, but it will be a better, more family-friendly pool when it opens. And we want to compliment members of the Board of Legislators who, prior to my becoming county executive, were able to work out the arrangements to make that project happen. And then as you walked in, you saw the beginning of some of our work on the colonnades, the towers, right as you enter. This physical plan opened in 1928. And there's very few of us that can say that we opened in 1928. And the park certainly has shown that age, and frankly, from neglect and from lack of capital investment. Now that commitment is here. We're making the capital investment necessary. While the park operates through Labor Day, you will see signs of that capital projects underway. There's a switchgear building that's under construction on the other side of the park. That's important for our electrical power that goes into this facility. But you're going to see a brighter, newer park. And then when we close at the end of the year, you'll see even more capital projects that will go into this facility. Fountain Plaza, repair and refurbishment of bathrooms, and so many other things that will create a new revived Playland. But what you will especially see that we're very proud of is the work that's gone into reopening our historic Carousel, which reopens this year, almost 4 years after a fire decimated it. There had to be major construction on the roof and major repair of these historic horses. And I gather we're going to run the Carousel, and you're going to get a chance to ride on the Carousel. If that wasn't part of the plan, it is now. And it's nice to be county executive. And we want you to appreciate that the restoration of that Carousel is a symbol of our commitment to the tradition of this park. That this park existed long before any of us were in public office or had public responsibilities, but we respect that tradition. And that tradition will be renovated and revivified by the work we do all throughout the park. And if you want to get an idea of what that's going to look like, look at that Carousel, because that is very symbolic of what we hope to do. For our friends who are here in the press, a few key facts. The official opening of this park comes tomorrow at 12 noon. You'll be back for ride and entertainments. We're open through Labor Day, which is September 6th, and we're open Wednesdays through Sundays every week, with the exception of those Mondays, July 5th and September 6th, which represent Independence Day weekend and Labor Day weekend. So it'll be open on those Mondays and Wednesday through Sundays through the rest of the week. And we also have Playland Beach, which opened already earlier this month. That continues to be open through this period of time. The boardwalk is open. We have the Reed Sanctuary Nature Center, which is to the northeast of where we are. It's connected through this process. That is open for nature walks, and you can enjoy many different experiences here at Playland. This is how it was intended all those years ago, and this is how we want to make sure that it continues for the future. The new renovated Carousel is going to be joined by the work that we've done on the Derby Racer, which is one of 3 steeplechase rides that exist in America. So it's not just going around in a circle, it's going up and down, and it's going pretty fast. So bring your A game when you decide to go on the Derby Racer. When that fire occurred back in 2017, there was a choice to be made. And the choice to be made, it damaged the ride to the point where you could have made the decision to tear it down and build something new from scratch. And of course, anything that you build new, any rides we bring in here new, will be exciting. It'll be new. The Dragonator came in just 2 years ago, right over there, the summer of 19. And over the course of the coming years, we expect to see more new rides come into the facility. But the decision to restore the Carousel, that Carousel is 106 years old. It was originally built and operated in a park in Connecticut and was moved here for the 1928 Open of Playland. And the Derby Racer was built for Playland, 1927, opened in 1928. And that is really a way to look at what Playland is and what makes it distinctive amongst the other amusement parks that are out there. This represents something that you won't see, an Art Deco design facility. You're not going to build something like that from scratch today. And when you look at that kind of design work, you realize how much harder it's going to be for us to make the renovations. We're not just putting up simple construction work. It has to look and feel the way it was when it was originally created back in the 1920s. So we're very excited to have that happen. We today are going to open up the following rides, so get ready. The Dragon Coaster will be open. Thank you, Coaster. He made that possible. The Dragonator will be open. We will also have the Carousel and the Derby Racer that will be open. And then, of course, you can play miniature golf. We'll have a snack at Nathan's, and I believe Catherine has arranged for people to get Playland T-shirts. So you didn't come empty-handed today. This is Nikita's second trip to Playland today, so we want to make sure you got something to take back home to the office and show it off around the office. Playland has established an admission price of $20 for those who are going to ride the various rides. You'll see a board right in front of our check-in area, cashier area, shows $20 for rider wristbands. Junior rider wristbands are $15 per person. You can come and get a spectator wristband for free. If you're a Westchester County resident, you will have to prove your residency. And $10 if you get a wristband to walk around for non-residents. And that allows you to walk around to be able to see whatever there is to see. The parking fee is $10 per car, unless you know somebody who lives in the neighborhood like you, Grecian. And I think he's making his driveway available for free. There's another member of our executive, right. There's a member of our executive team that lives nearby, too. You'll have to track him down and use his driveway, too. The investment in this park, again, I'm speaking obviously because we have friends in the media who are covering this, represents over $100 million historic investment, and that is not the end of what we need to do with this park. But we had a choice, and there were people who felt in the community that Playland had seen its final days, that there was a different way to repurpose this land. We did not believe that. We believe that restoring it as close as we could to its former glory was the right strategy, that there's a new generation of Westchester residents, and for that matter, Bronx and Connecticut residents, anybody from any of these neighboring communities that could come and enjoy this park the same way that I did when I was 7 years old, living in Mount Vernon, getting on a bus with my friends and coming to Playland. Or the way the people in the neighborhood came to enjoy Playland. And then in due time, the ice rink and all the other elements of this. Robin Phelps Latimer, who is sitting here, is a native of this neighborhood, has been at Playland probably every day, every year of her life over the course of these years. And she's seen the park in its good days, and she's seen it in its tough days, and the good days are what's coming back again right now. I particularly want to thank all of the employees of Playland. They have been through a very difficult period of time. Certainly the shutdown in 2020 is difficult. You know that we've gone through issues that involve governance, and there'll be a change of governance next year, with Standard Amusement being the operator of the park, although we continue to own the park and we'll continue to make capital investments and improvements in the park. But our employees, more than anybody else, show their love for Playland. The hours that they put in, the work that they've done, the fine details to try to get this place right. It is not easy to maintain a facility that's this old. It's not that easy to just put another coat of paint on if the capital money isn't there to restructure and refinish it. But those efforts have been made over and over again, and we'll start at the top from Kathy O'Connor down, Frank Carreri, who's here, and the men and women of this team have done an exemplary job. And I also want to thank our county police. Our professional police department, the park ranger program that they have, provides security at this park, and it's reliable and it's comforting that we have that kind of presence here, so that we have a safe, secure environment for people to come, bring their kids, come at any age and be able to enjoy the park. I'd like to ask Kathy O'Connor, our Commissioner of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation, to share her thoughts and say a few words. Kathy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Latimer. I'm so excited to be here, and as the county executive so eloquently said, as you know, it takes a village. Well, here it takes a massive effort to put Playland back together every year. And following last year's, obviously we weren't open, they had a lot of work to do. And we also didn't know how we were going to run it until not that long ago, because the guidelines kept changing. But as usual, and I'm so proud of them, under Peter Tartaglia, who, as County Executive mentioned, isn't here, his love and his tenacity for putting this place together, working literally hand to hand with Frank Carreri and everybody else that has something to do with the park, they made it happen. I have to tell you one quick funny thing. A few years ago, I was walking around and I made a comment to Frank Carreri that somebody had mentioned there weren't enough flowers in the park, and they were going to add, if they were going to run the park, they would add more flora. I should realize that they do listen to me occasionally, and shortly after that, all the hanging baskets that you see on the lights appeared. Today, I came in and I said, you know, Frank, there's not enough flowers. And I realized, oh my God, I hope he doesn't take me seriously. There are flowers everywhere, and it never looked better. So let's have another hand And most of the work that you see, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, is done by hand. You can't do this all the floral arrangement, especially in the front, in the circle. That's all done by hand. So tremendous effort. We're so excited to be opening tomorrow. All of a sudden, I'm very popular again through friends and family. Can I get tickets? But that's okay. We're very happy to have them coming here. I wanted to just mention we have another deputy who is here, Mr. Neil Squilanti, who's our Director of Operations too, and works very closely with Frank and company on the budget. And obviously that's very important. I wanted to just mention, I've mentioned it before, but I really mean it. This county executive and the Board of Legislators are so supportive of the Parks Department. It is a pleasure to work with them. They have approved the money that's going into this project, into redoing the park, and through the county executive's love for Playland, as well as all the other parks. It's not just here. He is a pleasure to work with. He's so supportive, and the staff responds very, very well to him. So thank you, George, and thank you to Chairman Borkin and the Deputy County Executive and the Director of Operations, Joan. Thank you. Have a wonderful summer season. Please be safe. Come back. And all our pools open today, too. So the pools are open now until Labor Day from 10 in the morning till 6:30 at night. The beaches are open, and Playland opens tomorrow at 12. So thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ken. Let me recognize as well two other members of my team, the dynamic Lisa Reyes, who is with us, is also part of our communications department, and Chris Steers, who's our Director of Administration. We're very happy to have them on our team and with us here today. Kathy mentioned, and it bears repeating, that this is a big weekend for us. Not only are we opening Playland tomorrow, but as she points out, our 4 county public pools at Saxon Woods in White Plains, at Wilson's Woods in Mount Vernon, at Sprain Ridge in Yonkers, and at Tibbetts Brook Park in Yonkers. All 4 of those pools open 10 o'clock. They open today at 10 o'clock, and they'll be open from this point forward also through Labor Day. And between the 2 beaches that are open already, Croton Point Park Beach in Croton-on-Hudson on the Hudson River side, Playland Beach here. We expect to open Glen Island Beach next weekend, and we'll probably have a press conference to do that as well. We'll have a number of places for people to recreate and enjoy. And let me also say at Kensico Dam Plaza tonight, too late to sign up for it, it's sold out. We have the first of 8 drive-in movies at Kensico Dam Plaza tonight at 7:30. Those are family-friendly movies. Throw all the kids in the car and be able to go and park and enjoy the movie. We have Bicycle Sunday now in its completing its 2nd month of operation, and through the generosity of the Parks Foundation and some other donors, as we did last year, the Bicycle Sunday program, which is Sundays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., will continue on the Bronx River Parkway all summer long into the fall, with the exception of the 4th of July and Labor Day weekends. That's on Sunday. And also on Sunday, if you go up to Muscoot Farm, we have a farmer's market. 9:30 opens up in the morning at Muscoot Farms. So we've got a lot of things happening at the same time, and that is the example of what this Parks Department has done, and we thank Kathy and her team for their outstanding work. I'd like to ask our Commissioner Sheriff of Public Safety, Tom Gleason, to join us here and share a few of his thoughts on this day. Tom.
Thank you, boss. As the county executive mentioned, he and a number of his staff members, myself included, have been coming to this park since we were kids. As an attendee, and then later on, working here as a police officer, a sergeant, a lieutenant, and now being the one responsible for coordinating security for this park, this is a responsibility I take very seriously. I couldn't be prouder of the men and women of the Westchester County Police and the job that they do to keep the people of Westchester safe, and they will be here in this park all summer doing the same for all the visitors of this park. You'll recognize them in their blue shirts, but also the seasonal park rangers in their light blue shirts. They are New York State certified peace officers and are a vital part of the protection and security here at Playland. So if anyone has any issues, concerns, please seek them out. They'll be very visible and around the park all summer to help protect you and all the visitors here. So thank you. Congratulations to Commissioner O'Connor and her staff for the beautiful job they've done in preparing the park for this summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We'd also like to recognize three professional organizations that have been very critical in the construction work that's being done here. WRF Designs, they're present here today in their work, and we thank them for their professional output. The Lyro Savin team is here as well. I see Dr. Navas from Savin Engineering, and also Mace Contracting. I want to thank those organizations for their professional effort that leads to us today. Our last speaker, I'd like to have him say a few words, is the chairman of our Board of Legislators, Ben Boykin. As we have developed and laid out our plans, not just for Playland, but for capital improvements all across the county, the Board of Legislators reviews these requests. They ask us the critical questions. We have whatever type of back and forth is necessary and modifications that are necessary. Mayor Jane Shimsky plays a very critical role for the Board of Legislators on all of these capital projects, but we're committed to put money behind the things we believe in. And so this wouldn't happen today if it wasn't with the support of the County Board of Legislators. So I'd like to ask the Chairman, Ben Boykin, to please join us for his thoughts on Playland opening day. Ben.
Thank you, County Executive George Latimer, and to the Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins, Director of Operations, John McDonald, Commissioner O'Connor, Commissioner Gleason, and other commissioners, the County Executive's staff, and to my colleagues that are here from the Board of Legislators. Again, we have Majority Leader Mayor Jane Shimsky. We have Catherine Parker, who lives a stone's throw from here. We have Colin Smith. We have Adat Gashi. We have Terry Clemens with us, and we have David Tubiello, who is the chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission. So you have these legislators here saying how important Playland is to all of us. We missed it last year because of, as the county executive said, COVID. That hurt all of us, but now we're here tomorrow reopening this park. And just let me say, from a historical perspective, we acquired the park in 1928. For you all history buffs, Playland was used, the money that it threw off, to purchase a lot of the other parkland that we have in this county. So because of Playland, it has helped us acquire the 18,000 acres of parklands and other park facilities that we have for the use of people in Westchester County and this region. Also, let me say, I'm so glad we're opening tomorrow because probably, as Commissioner O'Connor knows, some of the parks can't open this year because they can't find employees. Thank you very much for getting people that will come here to work, and there are a lot of young people. I was just seeing the other day, they said, well, part of the park, one park's not going to open because they cannot find people to work. And this park gives people who are young people an opportunity to work, and those people who also are in their senior years also work at this park because they keep coming back because they love Playland. So I am so pleased that tomorrow at 12 noon, we start out again, and we welcome everyone back to Playland. It's going to be a great weekend. Early next week, it'll be 100 degrees, so Playland, or you can go to the pools. But Westchester is back open. Playland is back open. Thank you.
So before we cut the ribbon with a team of 1,000 of us doing this all together, just to share a couple of final thoughts. We have, in the county office building, renamed 3 of our offices, conference rooms, I should say, by the names of the first 3 county executives. And some of the more recent county executives are names that we're more familiar with: Andy O'Rourke, Andy Spano, Rob Astorino. Ed McCallian's name is on our building. But the first 3 go back as far as 1937, which doesn't go back as far as Playland was. William Blakely, Herb Gerlach, James Hopkins. Why do I mention their names at a moment like this? Because I've always believed that those of us in public office are stewards. We're given a responsibility. We ask for responsibility, and when the voters determine that we get that responsibility, we have authority. But it's not forever, and it's not absolute authority. There's a check and a balance between the executive and legislative branch. There are things the county can do. There are things the county has to go to the state to do. There are things that we have to do in coordination with the local governments around us. We need cooperation in order to accomplish things. But fundamentally, we have an obligation. And the obligation is to recognize what we've inherited that we did not create ourselves. We did not create ourselves, the county center, in this term of office or even with those in public office. I first entered county government 30 years ago as a county legislator, and these assets were there before I came in the door as a county legislator. And we have an obligation. You see young kids getting ready to get on these rides. That's why they're here, not to listen to a politician talk. But we have an obligation. We have an obligation to provide public transit. We have an obligation to treat sewage. We have an obligation to help people that are in financial need, and we have a system of social services programs to address that. We have a host of needs, and we, as today's decision makers, there's no guarantee that we'll be the decision makers down the line, and we know for sure that our time on the planet is limited. But it's a different philosophy. We're stewards, and this park, as beautiful as it is, doesn't belong to us. That's why the first act that I did as county executive almost 3.5 years ago to the day was to ensure that no name of a county executive would be on any park or any other land. And that's the first time that ever happened. You always have the name of the county executive on the plaques for these parks, because these parks do not belong to a county executive or any single group of people. They belong to the people of Westchester County, and not only those that are living here today, but those they inherited from and those that they are going to grant it to in the years to come. That philosophy, when we open Playland today, puts us in keeping with something that's bigger than us and something that's important to us. So please come and enjoy Playland. Enjoy it the way that people 50 and 70 years ago enjoyed it, and let's hope that they'll be enjoying this park 50 years from now in the same way. Why? Because we kept the faith, we understood what our job was, and we simply did it. Friends, come and join me as we cut the ribbon.
What's the Robin getting from you next week?
Hey, you, Alex.
I'm gonna stand over there.